Hi everyone, welcome. It's Cindy Leach here with the City of Campbell River, doing a live yoga class for everyone. Hope you all are keeping well and getting out and enjoying this beautiful, beautiful sunshine. So we are doing an hour class basically, and I'm going to change things up a little bit for you today too, because we are going to be doing a little bit of different type of live yoga class next Tuesday. So this class I'm going to break down a few more moves for you, and I just want to be able to offer lots of different modifications for everyone so that they are comfortable and can participate in the class. I want to make yoga accessible for everyone. So just a couple reminders, and making sure that first off your space is safe so it's not too slippery. And just also, you know, if you're choosing to have bare feet or maybe some shoes, so if you are just wearing socks, watch out for your own flooring. If you don't have a sticky mat, that's what they're all about. Also that you've checked in with your doctor, you've followed our PAR-Q that we have available for you online. And yeah, I make sure that you can hear me. Feel free to give me some feedback. I haven't quite started the music yet, so we got a few minutes to get settled in. You might even want to grab a chair. So if time permits, I might show you a few modifications to use with the chair, because like I said, I want to try to make this class accessible for everyone. I do teach a more gentler, beginner-ish style of yoga. And I always feel that you can always go further. My motto is we find the pose to fit your body instead of forcing your body to fit into any pose. So feel free to modify, to abstain, to just sit and focus on the breath. If anything at the moment, breath work is fantastic. It can be really calming for us. I think a lot of us need that right now. And so yeah, I'm not sure, just seen a little, somebody who wants to be, oh I see, in the video, is watching. Excellent. Well, thanks to you guys. Nice to have you join on. So feel free to say hello. I'm going to start the music so we can just test the sound and make sure that the sound works with my voice and it's not too loud. So find your props. So if you need a towel, if you don't have any blocks, or even a small blanket might be good. Let me just turn that down just a little bit. If you are looking for some assistance for some chest opening, then a strap or maybe a belt or a tie or even another towel might work good for that. Let me just turn that down just a little bit. I want to make sure that I'm not overpowering. It's always fascinating to me how it sounds like on the other side, whether it's Zoom or Facebook Live or anything. So feedback is always welcome. Feedback is always welcome. So how are you doing? Are we good? Are we getting somewhat what we need? I hope so. So yeah, we're going to do a little bit of a breakdown of sun salutations. If you've come to a lot of my classes, you'll probably notice I don't do a lot of sun salutations, and the reason I don't do them a lot is because I'm always concerned about the shoulder for people. So I just want to break it down. You may have been in my classes, and maybe you've heard me break it down a little bit. So that's what we're going to do today. And as I always say, of course, if that's just something that doesn't resonate for you or your body, then you can modify, you can abstain. So yeah. So watch for the email tomorrow, because you're going to be getting an email with all of our new classes that are coming up. I'll be teaching Yoga Sculpt on Tuesday at noon live. Sally's going to be teaching a live class on Thursday. We've got our outdoor classes happening. We've got lots of outdoor classes happening actually at 9 o'clock all week. So and there's even 2 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So yeah, check out our schedule and get yourself signed up and keep moving, keep active, everybody. So I think we're going to begin now. I think I got probably about the right time. So we're going to start in a seated position, nice and tall through the spine. So I'm going to actually turn sideways, and just also a reminder too, if you're new to the live Facebook, you can always swipe to the right to remove the comments so that you can see me a little bit better. So when we're sitting, we want to kind of notice what we're doing with our pelvis. If our pelvis is tipping backwards a little bit, if that's how you sit. And you can, this is where blocks or folded blankets, towels, can give you a little bit of height, and then suddenly you're able to have your pelvis a little bit straighter, because what that does is that allows your legs to be a little bit lower, so we're not pulling backwards. And the reason why that is important is because now it opens up the pathway for your breathing. And as I've mentioned, the breath that's the best part of yoga. That's an important part of yoga. So let's settle in. Let's get grounded. I might just turn that down just a notch so I don't feel like I need to yell at you there. So maybe we lift our chin up and down a little bit. Just notice how this feels. We're just observing. Allow yourself to be the observer right now. Maybe we just draw a little circle with the tip of the nose so we can maybe relieve any tension, or just even notice if there's any tension in our neck. And then of course going the other direction. And then let's slowly turn our chin towards one shoulder, and then softly letting that chin come down to the shoulder. You can take your arms beside you here. Let yourself feel your sit bones. So those are those bones that are pressing into the mat. Let them feel connected, or whether you're sitting on that blanket or not, or even the chair. Take a soft breath here. You're going to feel a nice stretch into the side of the body, side of the neck. And then on that next inhalation, maybe we make a little bit of a rainbow up and over towards the other side, reaching up through the crown of the head. And on the exhalation, just softening, just allowing the body to anchor, settle in. And then we'll bring our chin back to neutral. Let's circle sweep both arms up to the sky. We'll do a few breaths like this. Exhale as the hands and arms float down. The chin might come down. So let's do this 2 more times. Nice big breath here. Inhale. Eyes can be closed. That way we can just tune into the sensations of our own body. And reminding ourselves to honor and listen to our body, let go of any judgment or any expectations or comparison. So taking a soft breath in through the nose, the nostrils, inhaling through the nose, and exhale through the nose. Notice how on the inhalation, a slight coolness of the breath. And on the exhalation, we might notice it's a little bit warmer. Softly breathing in. Begin to relax the hips and the shoulders, the eyes, the jaw. Lengthening through the spine, engaging our Mula Bandha, our pelvic floor. Now there's a balancing energy breath called Nadi Shodana. It's alternate nostril breathing, and lots of times we use our hand to assist us with that. But for today, let's just see if we can inhale and feel a breath coming in through only the right nostril. And allow that breath to travel all the way up to the space between the eyebrows, and exhale out the right nostril. And the next inhalation would come in through the right nostril, drawing it upwards towards the eyebrow center, and then exhale out the left. Inhaling through the left nostril, and exhale out the right nostril. Inhaling through the right nostril, and exhale out the left. Now I continue with that. I'm going to show you the finger technique. So perhaps you take your fingers to the space between the eyebrow center, which by the way is calming if you give yourself a little massage there. And you can close off the right nostril as you take that inhalation with your thumb. And then as you exhale, you can close off the left nostril. And then you'll stay here and inhale through that right nostril with the left nostril closed off with your finger. And breathing out the left as you close off the right. Don't get too caught up on how you hold your hand position, to be honest. Allow it to be comfortable. The one thing, if you are going to choose to do that breath, is to try to close off the entire nostril. Observe your breath. Allow yourself to be the observer there. And it's a balancing of energy. You notice the coolness and the warmth. So the Ida and the Pingala, actually, the left side and the right side of the body. If your energy, if you feel very just kind of scattered a little bit, sometimes that's a nice breath to come to. You're certainly welcome to do the equal ratio breathing, nice belly breath, whatever seems to work best for you. Allow yourself to breathe down and utilize all of the lungs. Opening up the best pathway for that breath. So we have a nice posture. And then let's finish, if you've been doing Nadi Shodana breathing, let's find a couple breaths, regular equal ratio breathing there for a moment. And then we'll take our hands. So we'll inhale, bring our hands up to the sky, and exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to pause here. So this is a good time for us to set our sankalpa, our resolve, maybe our intention, or maybe you have an affirmation. Let yourself really feel this. You've got your thumbs connected to the heart center. Let yourself feel, be really fully aware. What is it? It might be even a simple word such as peace or harmony. And then we're going to come into child's pose. So sitting back towards the heels. I'm going to turn sideways here. If you have some knee issues, you can keep the hips up. You can rest your forehead here. You can bring the sit bones towards the heels. Again, just feel comfortable. Tuck your chin in just a little bit there so that you can feel a little more space in the back of the neck. And then see if we can bring some breath awareness into the rib cage. Nice soft breath in. Exhaling everything out. And then let's prepare for a little bit of movement here. So you can circle your wrist if you like, getting them prepared. And coming to cat-cow. So separating the hands nice and wide. You can always do fist for wrist if this bothers your wrist by turning the palms to face inward. Knees below the hips, and we're going to start with a nice gentle back bend. So inhale as we come into our cow pose. And we'll exhale as we round our back softly into cat. Take your time articulating the spine with the breath, drawing the shoulders away from the ears, maybe pressing the heart center forward. Again, allow yourself to just observe, to just be the observer while you breathe and move here, keeping the arms straight, but avoid locking the elbows, keeping any extra strain off the base of the wrist by pressing in with the base of the index finger and the base of the thumb. It's nice to separate your fingers and have them straight. I remember when I first started taking my yoga training, of course being a personal trainer and always holding on to weights and everything, I couldn't believe how my hands, how good they felt by having my fingers extended. It was hard. It was actually, that was the part that I used to try to not focus on, but that's what I used to feel more than anything. So, you know, just allow yourself that. Breathe the observer. Let yourself feel. All right, and then sitting back into child's pose. So remember, child's pose is always there for you. Anytime you want to come to child's pose, you can certainly do down facing dog instead. And if you want to stay and breathe a little bit more, feel free to do so. Otherwise, we're going to reach the hands forward, index finger in line with the shoulder joint. So again, the hands facing forward. Activate your pelvic floor here. Inhale, and I'm going to turn the inside of my elbows forward. I'm going to come into a little bit of a plank position and exhale as I come back. So the reason I turn those inside of those elbows forward is to bring my shoulder into a little bit of external rotation so I can protect it down the road when I come into a little bit more movement. Now, option here, of course, is down facing dog. So we pull the hips up and back and coming into a full plank position. So again, protecting the shoulders by not letting them internally rotate. Move with your breath, take your time. Okay, so you've got lots of options here. Drawing awareness to the buttocks as you come forward into that plank position. And exhale there. Great stuff, everybody. Runner's lunge position. Let's take that right leg forward. I just want to open up the hip a little bit here so you can fold your mat lengthwise, so you've got an extra padding and cushioning here for that left knee. And then we'll exhale as you go back and lift up your tailbone, so you feel a nice stretch here with the back of the right leg, and then inhale coming forward. Suppose if don't worry about being on the same side. Whatever side you're on is fine. So again, I want to feel a nice stretch here in the back of the leg, and I'm engaging the glute muscle and maybe getting a little bit of hip opening here. So maybe 2 or 3 times on each side, lifting up the toes as you come back. And then switching when you're ready. So the thing about this being a live video is it's always lovely, of course, to have people join you live, but you can come back to this video a few times. You can slow it down, you can pause it. Maybe do a little bit more of one of the poses, one of the movements that's feeling good for you. Because I want to try and show you a few things today. Some of the stuff I might be a little bit more rushed than what I might do, but I would again encourage you to stay with something. If it just feels good, then stay with it. All right, so finishing off with that side there, and then coming back to child's pose again, or down facing dog. Draw the breath down towards the tailbone, even if you're in down facing dog position. Again, engaging the pelvic floor. Nice deep breath. And then let's take our time to come to the top of the mat, coming forward into forward fold. This is where I'm going to offer you the chair. Because if you have your chair, make sure that it's not going to first off slip away from you. But maybe for you, or your kitchen counter, this can be your forward fold. So you can hinge from the hips, bend the knees a little bit, rest your arms on the top of the chair. Sometimes our shoulders feel tight here. So avoid letting the shoulders try to dominate too much work, and let the back of the legs open up here. Pelvic floor is still engaged, and I'm attempting to feel like I'm going to imprint my sit bones and my tailbone to the wall behind me. Now, of course, otherwise forward fold here, Uttanasana, keeping my head in line with my heart if I have any blood pressure issues or eye concerns or sinuses. Otherwise, the crown of the head pointing down towards the floor. Let yourself relax and breathe here to whatever feels most appropriate for your body. So then let's bend our knees, come back up to standing. Big breath here. Maybe add a baby back bend, engaging the abdominals and the buttocks, bringing hands down to heart center. We will exhale. Good. Circle sweep the arms again. Inhale, lifting up. the arms. Exhale, coming to your forward fold. I'm going to step back my right foot into modification. Here would be a kneeling lunge, or you can be into the high lunge. So the high lunge, my knee is off the floor. Otherwise, my knee is down on the floor. Circle, sweep the arms up to the sky. Exhale, coming into child's pose, which might take a bit of time. Maybe this leg needs a little bit of assistance to pull it up and back. Now, you're replacing child's pose with down facing dog if you like. Inhale, coming into that plank position. So it could be kneeling or full. And then I want to turn the inside of the elbows forward. Bring the shoulders a little bit forward of those fingertips. Where you position your elbows, that's a whole big conversation. So coming down slowly so that you make sure that your shoulders feel okay. Now attach yourself to the mat with the toenails, the pubic bone, the hips. You're engaging the abdominals. We want to find length in the spine. So we pull ourselves forward. We pull the shoulders away from the ground. Tuck the chin in just a little bit. And on your next inhalation, lifting up into that cobra without using your hand. So this is a back bend here. And to prevent the small of the back feeling this, I pull down the pubic bone. Continue your breathing, maybe 1 or 2 more breaths. And then exhale, lowering down, coming back to child's pose or down facing dog. So again, you choose what works best for you for this practice. Maybe if you repeat this practice, you'll do something different next time. And then let's bring this time the right foot forward so the left knee is down into that kneeling lunge position or the high lunge. I'll show you the high lunge this time. Okay, so kneeling lunge or full lunge. Arms can be up, heart center, whatever you need to do. And then bending forward to come to your forward fold here. Inhaling, coming to the flat back position, monkey pose. Exhale, coming back to forward fold. And maybe you've stayed in monkey pose anyways, because that's what's safe for you. Bend the knees, lower the hips out, actively press your heels to the ground. Come up to standing. Inhale here. I'm turning sideways so you can see me. Exhale, hands to heart center and sitting back in a chair position. Let's pause here for a minute. Notice what we notice. Notice where we feel. Many options here as well. Elbows can hug the ribs. You can extend the arms straight out. If that bothers your back, then you shorten your levers. And then come back up to standing. Reach your arms up, and now we do this on the other side. So exhale, hinging forward from the hips. Stepping the right leg back, high or low lunge. Inhale, lifting up strong. Exhale, hinging forward back into down facing dog or child's pose. This is where it could take a bit of time. Just that movement of the hip. Inhale, coming into your full or your kneeling plank. Lift out of your shoulders, turn those elbows in. Maybe you need to lower down to the knees and keep your back protected, slowly lowering down to the floor. Inhale, lifting up into cobra. Exhale, lower down. Activate the core, use the hands. Lift yourself back up into down facing dog or child's pose. And then reaching that right foot up. Maybe you even lift it up and bring right foot to right hand. Coming into your lunge position. Exhale your forward fold. Inhale to monkey. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, coming up to standing, add a bit of a back bend, and exhale into your chair position. Utkatasana. And then find standing mountain pose. Nice deep breath, everyone. Feel grounded, feel connected to the mat, to the space, to the present time. Noticing the breath. Draw it down to the abdominals, a strong mountain pose here. So pulling down the big toes, pulling the heels apart from each other. Soften the knees, lifting out of the ankles. Relax the jaw. Let's soften the knees again. Circle, sweep the arms up. Exhale, flat back, forward fold. I'm going to step my right foot back to come into warrior one position. So left knee is bent. So if you're new, a nice way to find warrior one is to put the edge of the mat lengthwise along the edge of your foot. How wide your other leg goes can be more stability for you. Pay attention to what's happening to the hips here. So sometimes I'll see people stepping quite far back, way far back. And then the pelvis wants to tip forward on this leg because there just isn't the openness here. But this one is upside down or straight up and down. So now I've taken my pelvis and I've torqued it. So that can be a bit compromising on the sacrum. So again, finding what feels available for you. Let yourself feel good and strong through your pelvis, your bandhas, your mula bandha, uddiyana bandha, and securing, again, stability in the pelvis. So hands at heart center, cactus arm position. Maybe you reach your arms up, and we'll stay here just for a few more breaths. So my back leg is straight, front knee over the front ankle. And then let's open up now to warrior two. So I'm going to face the long edge of the mat. My hips now face sideways instead of facing forward. And I'm going to again look at my back foot, make sure that it's pointing either straight forward this way or a little bit forward towards the front of the mat. Checking the alignment here of the knee above the ankle. And you should be able to see your big toe. So you're pulling the outside of the knee to the wall behind you. It would like to come in this way. This is an excellent muscle to help you with balance. Outside edge of your back foot. See how your hips feel. And again, maybe you need to modify because this hip is just not quite so open. Lifting up through the crown of the head, out of the small of the back. Our arms are active here. Breathe in strength. Turn the palms up briefly. Inside of the elbows facing upwards. Straightening the arms without locking the elbows. And then attempt to turn only the wrist with the elbows still pointing upwards. And it's just amazing. You might notice some shoulder stuff happening. Beautiful. Let's cartwheel face the floor. Exhale. Come to forward fold. Stay here for a few breaths. Again, maybe you're using the chair or the counter. You can take your hands on your elbows and maybe even softly swaying from side to side. And then let's come back up to standing. Big, strong breath in. Exhale, hands to heart center. Step back now with your left foot, your warrior one position again, and adjusting so that you feel strong and stable around the whole pelvis. Again, find your arm position. We'll stay here for a few breaths. So again, we're active in our legs. We're anchoring down with the big toes and our heels, and we're pulling the heels apart, strong and steady. Relax the jaw. Feel what you feel. Notice what you notice. Positive thoughts. Positive energy. Maybe you need it. Maybe somebody else needs that positive energy. And then we'll exhale to warrior two now the other side. So again, now my hips are facing the long edge of the mat. I'm readjusting my foot, my knee if I need to, checking out my back foot. Again, stabilizing my pelvis. Elbows strong. This side, we're going to come into a reverse warrior pose. So we're going to lower our backhand down. I'm going to face you this way. So I'm going to lower the backhand down and then turn up the palm. In your reverse warrior pose, so you have options. You can put your hand on your elbow. You can bring the elbow to the ear, or maybe softly swaying. Now have a glance and see what happened to that knee, because it might have wanted to fold inward. So let yourself lift up out of the small of the back. You're anchoring down with the outside edge of the back foot. Big breaths here. And then exhale back to warrior two. Inhale, let's bend that front arm, forearm to the front thigh to come into side angle. Now maybe I decide to put my hand on my hip and I'm thinking about a nice long line here. My chest open, shoulders stacked. I can extend the arm up here. Maybe I can bring the bicep towards the ear, reaching the fingertips away from the ankle. My front heel active here, big toe active to engage the inner thigh, which is going to help support my back. And then let's cartwheel, lift off that back heel, and then choose to come back to down facing dog or child's pose. Now you can rest here, or you can come into that half series sun salutation if you like. Or maybe you just decide you'd like to just do the plank and go back and forth there. So again, just doing what works best for you. So I'm just going to turn around so I can show you the other side. So bringing the opposite leg forward again, and then coming back up, and we can come straight up into warrior two. So again, adjusting so that we are feeling the length of the long edge of the mat, looking after the knee, back leg straight, extend the arms, lifting strong, active muscles. Inhale, find that reverse warrior pose. And exhale, side angle. And choosing the side angle that works for you. So you want to notice if you're facing towards the floor. Again, you want to stay upright. So maybe for you, your side angle, this is a little bit better. Okay, so doing the option that works for you. Again, your muscles are active. You're noticing your breath. And then let's exhale as we pivot back around to step back to child's pose or down facing dog. Your choice. You can bicycle the heels if you like, if you're in down facing dog. Moving your ribs softly. And then let's all meet in child's pose for a moment. Again, choose to take a few breaths here. You can have your arms reaching out in front, or you can bring your arms beside you. I'd like to show you a bit of another pose called Dolphin, which is strengthening for the shoulders. And of course, your shoulders, maybe you've got a shoulder issue, so you might abstain for that. So you could continue doing the poses that we were doing. So first I'll show you from the front, and then I'm going to show you from the side. So I take my elbows down here, interlacing the fingers and taking that pinky finger inside. So hopefully you can see how I've tucked it inside. It's like my own little cave here I've made with my hands interlaced. And then I come up and I'm actively pressing my forearms into the mat. So it's not just the elbows, or it's not just the wrist, it's the forearms right from elbow all the way to the wrist. I want to make sure that my elbows are not too wide here, so my elbows are in line with my shoulders. Activating the pelvic floor again, tuck the toes, and I'm coming just like down facing dog. So now I'm going to come up and I will pull myself back. So dolphin pose, so it's very strengthening in the shoulders. Please make sure to not round your back. So maybe you even decide to just go here and learn how different it can feel by pressing in with those forearms. So I'm just going to turn to the side to show you. So you can stay in your dolphin pose if you're there for a few more breaths. Another option here is for shoulder strengthening as I come into that plank position. I bring my face to my hands, and then I exhale here. So this is something that we might do in yoga sculpt. So just moving with the breath. Maybe you do 1, maybe you do 3, whatever works for you. And then let's come down onto our knees, back into our child's pose. Maybe you take your hands beside you, palms up, tucking the chin and allowing the shoulders to round. And then we're coming into a little bit of balance next, but this balance is going to be on the floor, so it's something that actually can work with what we just did with our shoulders. So coming onto all fours here, the thing about this position as well is there's lots of options. I want to try and get a little bit of rotation, a little bit of movement here in the mid-back, which can be very stuck. So taking your one hand to the side, look at your hand, sweep it underneath, and bring that same ear down to the mat or fold your arm. Now you can extend this one arm forward. This is coming into what we call thread the needle. So you're stretching out your shoulder here. But the thing is, if you're able to, you might notice a little bit. The spine is not meant to rotate a lot here, but maybe you got a little bit of rotation happening in your back. So this is where we get to utilize our breath and see if we can pull the breath down into places that it might otherwise not want to go. Explore, be curious. Taking a few breaths here. And again, I would probably suggest staying longer, but I want to show you just a little bit more. So coming up, let's do the other side. So coming here, sweeping this arm under. Again, I'm lengthening my spine. Maybe I'll choose to reach my arm here. Rotation, even notice the hips reaching back. Feel the breath drawing in towards the twisted lung. Feel how nice and opening it is if you're reaching your arm forward. Relax the jaw. Have good thoughts. And bring your right hand back beside your face. Now you can stay there like I mentioned. You can go back to those stretches if you like for that. The thread the needle, you can come to down facing dog or child's pose. I'm going to just show you a little bit more. And I think I'm going to turn sideways here for this next one. It's very similar to what we just did, but just a little bit more core work here, just a little bit more balancing. So a couple options. I should make sure I can be all in the mat here. So I'm stepping back with this one leg, opposite arm comes here. So I want to notice again what's happening. I want to stay long and strong. And then sweeping this back. And then coming up, follow the hand. Exhale, rotating. So notice how I'm bending my elbow here. So you're going to feel some stretching here. If you've got sciatica, you might not like that. The other option I'd like to show you is spinal balance. Okay, so I'm actively pulling the shin down to the floor, and I'm going to reach my arm in front and exhale, bring it to the side. So inhale, reaching forward, lift out of your shoulder, exhale, and then maybe you decide to rest here in your thread the needle pose. Stay here for a couple breaths. You can sit back if you want, or again, if you're maybe looking for that rotation, then holding those hips up. And then let's bring our hand to our face again, lift ourselves up, and we're just going to repeat this to the other side. So I'm just going to find myself facing forward here. Oops, did that side. So arm to this side here. Again, so maybe I come back to the spinal balance movement, or I like this sweeping motion. So there's a bit of tricep involved here as well. You want to make sure that your wrist is not too far in front of your shoulder. And exhale, or maybe you do all three, so you can come up and explore. And underneath, exhale. Inhale, up. Bring to the front. Bring to the side, and we'll stay here in our thread the needle pose. So again, play around, be curious, or you can follow us on Facebook. Breathing in and out. And then let's bring that hand back to the face. We'll lift ourselves up and we'll rest back in child's pose. Again, your arms, wherever feels nice, whatever feels right for you. Maybe your child's pose, you decide to separate the knees a little bit here. Maybe you add your sun salutation. And then we'll bring those hands back beside the face. Sometimes what I like to do is, just to benefit releasing the whole back body when I come up, is I tuck my toes underneath and I slowly roll back towards the heels. Maybe your heels touch, maybe they don't. Maybe you've got a towel or something you can put there. And make yourself into a nice little ball, and you get a really nice release here in the small of the back. There's no tension, really. You're making sure that you're not just dropping in your joints, of course, but just sort of thinking again about bringing the breath down to the base of the lungs and just really relaxing there. Nice stretch here for the calves, of course. Notice what the knees want to do. And then we'll come up to standing, and maybe we come actually into forward fold instead. So hands on the floor or your legs. So you're lifting, so keeping the connection of the ribs and belly against the thigh. And maybe you're here. Maybe you can straighten more, whatever works for you. Breathe, release. It all really depends on what's been going on for you. Again, maybe you hug your elbows. Notice any tendency to pull the hips back behind the heels, especially if you've been active or you have dominant calves. And then we'll come up to standing. So take your time. Maybe you take 2 breaths. We've been down a little bit longer, so you don't want to get dizzy here too much. And bring your hands to heart center for a moment. Maybe repeat your Sankalpa. By mountain pose, stand tall. So I'd like to just do a little bit of heart and chest opening. So again, maybe if you do have a strap, go ahead and grab your strap. And if you don't, that's okay. I'm going to show you with the strap first, and then I'll show you without the strap. And so you can stand tall. We're going to take the strap lengthwise like this. So maybe you even just kind of think about the thumbs pointing towards each other. All right, and I'm just going to I'm going to pull up and pull down. I want to feel how my top arm tries to pull up with it being straight, and how my bottom arm pulls down. So again, I'm already here, and I'm already feeling some stuff happening here. So kind of connect with that. And then bring that around. So you're going to bring that around you. And then we turn the hand. So now the palm can hold your strap. Attempt to touch the wall behind you with those elbows. Okay, so feel without pushing your chest and your ribs forward. So we zipper up from pubic bone to navel. And again, so now I'm trying to pull, I'm tucking my chin and I'm pulling up and I'm pulling down and I'm building some strength in my back of my shoulders. And then release that, and then maybe you're able, without moving your head, start to bring the hands a little bit closer. All right? So if you don't have a strap, that's okay. But just thinking about, again, what's happening. Try to keep that alignment of the body. Nice deep breath in and out. Maybe you don't need the strap. Maybe you can touch your hands. Hug the shoulder blades to the back. Now you can certainly stay here in standing, or we can come into a warrior one position. So I'm going to step back with the same arm, the same elbow that is pointing up in my warrior one position. So I'm still active with my cow face arms. This is what we call this. And I'm going to add a little bit of a back bend this time, lifting the heart and the chest upwards. I'm feeling my glute muscle of my back leg engaging to prevent my pelvis from tipping forward. Draw the breath down to the base of the lungs. And then slowly release this. And let's maybe just set the strap off to the side if we have it. And then give yourself a hug. So the arm that was on the top is now going to be the arm that was on the bottom with this hug. Okay? Tuck your chin in a little bit. Pull it back. A little bit of a double chin. And then breathe so you're feeling the shoulder blades separating. Nice, long, even breath. You're active here if you're in warrior one with your legs, your feet, your pada bandha, your foot lock. You're thinking good thoughts with your hug. And then let's pull ourselves forward into mountain pose. Inhale, stand tall. And exhale, eyes closed. Again, maybe just breathing here. Palms are open. Fingers are spread wide. Let yourself breathe. And coming to forward fold again for a moment. Inhale, circle sweep the arms up. Exhale, flat back, forward fold. Hinge from the hips, pelvic floor engaged. Stay here for just a couple breaths. And then bend the knees. Maybe you grab your strap while you're there. Come back up to standing. And we'll repeat this now on the other side. So again, taking that strap so that you are active. You're pulling the strap in opposite directions. Let yourself physically kind of feel this pull. And then bend the arm, bring it back, and then tucking in again. So switching legs, so the arm that's up is the leg that's back. Notice if there's any tendency to lean in the spine. So follow your spine. Use your pelvic floor. Tuck your chin in, and then I'm starting to pull up and pull down. Don't be too concerned about how close your hands are at this moment. Just let yourself do whatever works and feels comfortable for you. Lift out of the small of the back. So again, notice what's happening with that pelvis. We want to avoid that one pelvis tipping forward where the other one stays upright, right? So following that, and then maybe you're getting closer with your hands, maybe not. Breathing in, breathing out. So we want to build the strength in those muscles so we're active in them. So this is where if we do have a strap that we can use or something we're pulling, we're feeling those muscles engaging. Nice deep breath in and out. Find your chest opening here if you like. So again, avoid letting that pelvis tip backwards. Big toes are anchoring to help support me. Nice long line of support. And then take your time coming out of that position. Again, lowering the strap down to the floor. Give yourself a hug so the arm that was up is the other arm. Okay, so you're going to switch. The arm that was down is the one that's on top. Lower the chin. Maybe we pull ourselves forward here. And breathe so that we're feeling the shoulder blades separating. And then we're going to come into wide leg forward fold. So I'm going to show you with the chair. If you already are comfortable using the floor, feel free to do so. Otherwise, again, chair, counter, back of your couch, if that works. So I'm going to step wide with my toes in slightly, my heels out slightly, hinging from the hips and keeping a nice alignment here from ankle, knee, and hip. So I'm activated in my abdominals. So I want to avoid just letting the abdominals drop to the ground. I'm engaging them, I'm drawing them upwards. So just getting that nice stretch here in the backs of the legs, the inner thighs, again, maybe the chest and heart. So notice again if there's any tendency to back bend here. So see if again, maybe you can explore just a few differences. Hold the outside edges of the knees apart from each other, anchored down with those big toes. So you're feeling like you're pulling the big toes. You're going to notice the sensation on the inside here of the shins and the thighs. And think about that. How great is that? Because you're going to protect your knee. You're going to help the knee from coming inward. So we're trying to stretch this outside here and strengthening inward here. Well, this muscle is being stretched and already lengthened. So you're building that strength in this already stretched out muscle. And I guess if you're welcome to come to the floor, if that works for you, you can reach your arms forward, or you can start to bring your arms backwards so that your elbows point behind you, crown of the head maybe points to the ground, a little bit deeper pose here. So again, find what works best for you so that your breath will tell you. Your breath, if it's become shallow or jagged, that might not be the pose for you today. You can work your way there if you like. You might even grab behind the ankles. Now, of course, if you have high blood pressure, remember you're not going to have your head lower than your heart here. And then I'm going to find my hands coming to the floor and sitting back into child's pose. But I'm going to stack my fist, actually, just to keep my head a little bit higher for a moment. And then let's find ourselves sitting up. First, we're going to sit up. I'm going to again sit sideways for a moment. We're going to sit with our toes pointing straight up and down. So notice if they want to fall to the sides. Again, the pelvis. So notice if the pelvis wants to tip backwards. All right, so the pelvis is up. And this is, again, where you could take a folded blanket or towel or block if you have to give you the height, and then you're going to notice how suddenly the hips release a little bit more and the pelvis is able to sit straight up and down. So lengthen your spine. Pull the kneecaps to the hips, anchored down through the sit bones. Start to pull the big toes to you, but imagining the balls of the feet are trying to push towards your wall in front of you. So my kneecaps are pulling towards my hips. I'm attempting to try to pull the backs of the knees into the floor. Maybe your knees are bent up here, and that's okay. Make sure that your pelvis is here. You might even need to adjust how wide apart or close together your legs are. And we're all different because our pelvis is shaped differently. Our legs are shaped differently. The sizes of our bones are different. So just find the position that gives a nice opening here for your body. Again, your breath work, all right? Maybe you hinge forward. Maybe you tip your hips forward here a little bit, hinging forward, so you feel that crease like you're folding a book. Take a nice deep breath here. And then we're going to slowly, slowly come up, bringing our feet together, but one knee's going to, or legs in front, sorry, one knee's going to be bent. And I'm going to take this knee back and forth. I want to keep my pelvis real still, so maybe again I'm still sitting on the block here. No, you can adjust where this foot is. So maybe it feels better for your foot to be closer down towards your ankle. Maybe it feels comfortable for you to have it closer up to the knee, but nothing's moving. And then we'll switch to the other side. Notice any tendency to lean back or to shift off those sit bones. So nice and tall. And then, so if you have blocks, this might work, or again, roll your towels up, okay? And we're gonna come into butterfly pose. Another thing you can also do is even put the block in between your feet. So maybe your mobility is limited. Maybe this is where you are. That's okay, again, so making sure you're not tipping backwards, so you're sitting up nice and tall. So remember, you always got these options. The feet together on something because that helps to support the hips. So I'm a little bit stiffer than normal. I noticed that when I taught the class this morning, actually, even. So I'm not going to concern myself with whys. Whatever it is, what it is, I'm honoring my body. I want to feel and look after my body. This is my vehicle that I get to drive for a long time. So I want to sit nice and tall, my hands on my ankles, and I'm going to use these outside of these hip muscles for a moment, and I'm going to pull them down and lift them up. I'm going to pull them down and lift them up. So again, maybe you find that block. Block can sometimes satisfy our ego because it lets us connect. It lets us feel that we're touching. And then maybe you stay here, so you're going to pull the hips down, or pull the outside of the knees, sorry, down using your hips. And then release. And then do it again. Keep breathing as you're doing this. You're pulling down. You're active here at the bottom of the feet together, or your block, your big toes, and you're pulling down. Try not to lean back. Try not to round. Sit up on something if you need to. And don't be concerned about how close your heels are towards your pelvis either. And I always like to suggest holding onto the ankles instead of the toes or the feet because there's a lot of ligaments and bones in here, so this is just a little bit more secure. So nice deep breath, nice and tall in the body, that butterfly pose, maybe a little bit deeper, if you want to. Maybe you start to hinge forward and I'm pulling myself forward. I'm using my abdominals here to do that. Nice deep breath in. Remember, want to unlock the jaw. Notice if the jaw is tense. And then let's lower ourselves down. We're going to take our time coming down to the floor, however you want to get there. I'm just going to scoot myself forward here a little bit. And then just coming off to the side. So taking that deep breath, I'm staying here in that butterfly pose for a moment. Maybe I like to use these blocks because then my inner thighs might not be tempted to try to fight gravity and resist that gravity. So because of time constraints, I'm not going to stay here quite as long as I would probably suggest that you do. So this is, again, you might want to pause the video here for a moment and stay here for a little bit longer. Because it's just important for me that we assist the rest of the muscles we've been using. So now I'm going to take my feet apart. I'll come up when I finish my butterfly pose, a little bit internal rotation here, bringing that one knee down towards the opposite ankle. So I'm going to get a nice stretch all the way to the hip, okay? Don't worry about if your hip lifts off the floor as long as it doesn't cause you any discomfort or pain. And then I'll come up with that side and I will repeat this on the other side, of course adjusting. Maybe I need some support. Maybe this bothers my knee. If I've had some knee issues happening, I might even put a block there for some support here. And again, just stay here. I don't need to really stay too long. Again, your breath will let you know. I usually don't stay here as long as I do some of the other poses. Sometimes I want to be cautious with that internal rotation of the hip. All right, and then coming up. So you might come into Shavasana at this point. I just want to do one more stretch for you all. So coming into a seated position. Here, I'm going to sit nice and tall. I'm going to maybe cross this leg over again, noticing what my pelvis is doing. So I'm sitting nice and tall. I'm nice and anchored into the mat. I'm going to reach up to the crown of the head and then exhale, twisting from the waist, the ribs, pulling back the shoulders, taking the opposite elbow maybe and pulling that knee in towards my opposite rib cage. But at the same time, I still want to feel that sit bone anchor and stay connected to the mat. This hand that the direction I'm turning in is going to come behind me to make sure that I'm staying nice and straight. Take a deep breath here. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, allow the rotation to happen. So again, think about pulling the knee inwards so you're getting a nice stretch here into those external rotators. That's just so it's important for us to get those because we use those for our class. Breathing in. And then take your time, untwist. I usually, in my class, everybody knows I kind of all about symmetry. Just kind of a gentle forward fold. You notice I got really generously bent knees here for a moment. I'm not trying to stretch out my hamstrings. I'm just resetting my spine. And then coming back up. So again, I would probably stay a little bit longer in each one of those, but just because of time, I want to make sure that we get through everything. So you can pause the video and stay a little longer and then restart it. Do this video a few times. That's the beauty of, I always think of the positives of what's happening at this time, right? The virtual world is a different world, but we, in some things, I think it's taught us a lot. So lengthen through the spine, inhale, nice big breath. Again, feeling that nice stretch on the outside of your sit bone. And then we'll untwist when you feel ready. Maybe stay there 5 or 10 breaths. Same thing here. Exhale, folding forward, over. And then find your Shavasana pose. So lying nice and flat on the floor. Maybe you decide to put your rolled up blanket or towel under your knees if that just feels nicer on your back. I like to suggest also to keep the palms up so that you can truly let go here. So we're open heart, opening up the front of the body. And as we exhale, letting the back of the body connect, feel grounded. Maybe repeat your Sankalpa. Your eyes are soft, your cheeks are relaxed, the jaw is relaxed. And adjust your arms so you can feel that space from shoulders to ears. The fingertips are not touching anything so that our subconscious mind can let go. Nice, long, even breath in. And releasing, letting go. So of course I would encourage you to stay much longer than what I am today. This is a very important pose. Maybe you finish with your hand at your heart center and your palm on the ground and just collect that earth's energy or send it out to someone else, whatever whatever seems to resonate for you at this moment. And when you do come out of the pose, you're going to come out slow and easy, usually rolling off towards one side. Take that time to come up to that seated position. I thank you all for joining me this afternoon. For those that are watching, thank you for joining me in the future, because you can, and have a very, very harmonious afternoon, everyone. Love and light to you all. Namaste. Bye, everyone.